Hey guys, it's Aquarii Moon and I wanted to make a short video today about the topic of food and how food is a distraction. So when I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, I would say ever since I was 29 or so, like every time I would go into the doctors or something, they take your blood pressure and then they always ask, so are you taking medications and things like that. I mean, initially it wasn't bad, but it did progressively get bad. So when I got kind of to my early 30s, I had got sick. I had got walking pneumonia, and I ended up having to go, to the hospital and things like that. And the doctor basically scared me into getting the pills. I'm not a medicine taker. Like, I don't like taking pills like that. It just never works out good because once you take one and your body gets used to that, then the normal function that medication is controlling, it makes it that much harder for your body to regain its normal function. And so I'm like, okay, dealing with the heart, like, that's really the center, that's a very, very vital organ. And I didn't want to become dependent. So I took the pills for a little bit, and then I would say about a month and a half of taking them, I got a really bad rash on my right leg, where it, like, really bad discoloration, like white discoloration on my skin. And so that freaked me out, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And I immediately stopped taking them. And at that point I was like, you know what, I need to change. I need to change what I'm eating. So that's when I started veering towards being vegetarian. Now there is a difference between vegetarian and vegan, which I'm not going to get into that now, but you can definitely do your research online if you haven't already. I'm sure you have, because it's either vegetarian, vegan, what is the other one, keto, the keto diet, paleo diet. Like, all of these diets are the same, and in my opinion they just have different names. But anyway, so I started veering towards being vegetarian. So I started cutting out meat, one at a time. I cut out pork, that was the first one, and then chicken and fish. So and then I got to the point where I was just eating vegetables. Every now and then I would have something with cheese on it, or like mayonnaise, things like that. And so that's why I say I'm kind of in the switch between vegetarian and vegan. I would have to totally give up those dairy products. Now I never really was one to drink milk, so that wasn't really hard to cut out or anything like that. And honestly, it wasn't that hard to stop eating meat either. I don't know if it was because of a lot of the planetary changes that are going on. There's different energy influences on Earth at the moment, at that moment, and also now. It was just an easier transition. Then I transitioned into doing intermittent fasting, where I basically shortened my eating window. I would only eat between the hours of noon and 5. And then from that I went to strict water fasting. I haven't really done dry fasting. That I think I really only done it for one day maybe, and that was kind of not really intentionally. It was more just kind of because I didn't have water that day. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do a tiny dry fast. But with the topic of food being a distraction, I notice when I fast, even when I intermittent fast, I have more clarity of thought. I'm able to be more creative. I noticed that, especially that was a big plus. And I put here in my notes that eating at certain times of the day that help with the digestive system. So that's why I was eating between noon and 5, because those are the hours that you're up and you're moving around and things like that. You don't really want to eat past 5 or 6, depending on your schedule. Now, I don't like it when people are like, oh no, you have to stick to this, or this or nothing at all, because in reality, if you work the graveyard shift, I mean, it would be something to consider, eating and then at night just drinking water, and you would definitely see a big benefit in that, because the main reason why you don't want to really eat after 7 or 8 is because that's when your organs start to clean themselves. If you eat something at 8 o'clock, and it was a big meal, it wasn't like a little snack or something like a banana or an apple, like if it wasn't something small, then your organs switch from cleaning themselves, from self-cleaning mode to digestion mode, and so it slows down that time. And then plus, you don't really want to go to bed with food on your stomach like that. That's where a lot of like acid reflux develops. You can also develop ulcers like that, because just imagine it, you're laying down, so you're like this instead of upright, because that's your system needs to be in the upright position in order for the organs to function properly. And so if you're laying down, then your stomach's not able to fully break down the food to send it down through the rest of the system. So picking a time to eat, and it can be a challenge because we've been told that you need to have 3 meals a day. Some eating plans or diets say you have to eat 6 times a day, and it's like, well, no wonder we're in an obese society. No wonder people can't control their cravings. No wonder people are experiencing all of these digestive issues like colon cancer, things like that, and buildup of gallstones. Now that is actually, I'm not gonna talk, or this video isn't about liver flushing and gallstone flushing, but starting to do those types of flushes, starting to do internal cleanses, helps to clean out the gunk that has been left behind. So you have to think about it, years and years of eating meat, eating dairy, eating cheese. Cheese is almost like a glue. Once it gets in your system, it takes a while for it to actually process out. All of that stuff being compound year over year over year, and starting to cake up on your intestinal wall. There is a internal cleanse that I use that helps to clean each organ. So your lungs, your liver, your kidneys, your gallbladder, your spleen, and your digestive system, and your heart, your skin, hair, and nails. So it's a total internal cleanse. I'll leave the link below, and I'll probably post a picture here. But when you're looking at improving your energy, because I am talking from a Reiki practitioner, Reiki master, to you guys, I always encourage my clients to begin to examine their diet and to begin to leave certain foods alone, especially around the time when they're going to get their sessions, just so that it'll be more effective. So deciding if fasting is right for you and what level of fasting, dry fast, water fast, liquid and juice only, or smoothies only, it's really all about finding the happy medium. Now, if you're a person, you're like, I have to eat 3 times a day. Well, make those 3 times a day, smart choices. Don't just go having like large ass meals and things like that. Now, when you are transitioning from the traditional American diet to a healthier diet, it does happen in steps. I've seen a lot of failure with just kind of jumping in, and you do it, you get good results, but then you slide back into the same position you were in, and then you're like, okay, and then you try and start again. This happens a lot with fasting. Like you'll go for like 5 days and you're like, man, I feel great, and then you're like, I'm just gonna eat I'm just gonna break my fast and eat, you know, not too horrible, and then I'm gonna get right back on it. A lot of times people do that, and then they have a hard time starting back. One of the things that I found helpful was the fact of doing the liver and gallbladder flush, because our liver is I would say number two as an important organ, because it's the filter of your system. So if you help it to flush out those toxins, because that's what gallstones are, is basically all of the junk, all of the stuff from our environment, from what you eat, and things like that, and emotional situations as well. Because when you start to get regular Reiki treatments, your body will start dislodging emotional things that you've been holding on to, and it can also be physical, which would be the gallstones, or even, if you have been constipated. It also helps with high blood pressure and lowering it to its normal or accepted ranges. A lot of times I find that I personally am more energy sensitive when I'm doing a water only fast, and that definitely helps me, especially when I'm working with someone that has a lot of closed off or shut off chakras. Now, I'll touch on this more. I'm gonna actually make a whole video on does Reiki work, but if the person doesn't want the Reiki energy, or if they're hesitant, or if they still have questions, then it can feel like it's not working, and a lot of times. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to actually have a video on does Reiki work. But for me, as an energy healer, it helps me to be more sensitive, so that I can feel those injured areas, or those areas that have become so dense in your energy field. Like, you literally have energy blocks. Sometimes they're visible, and other times they're not, because some people have gotten really good at hiding their feelings, or hiding and keeping that kind of stuff away, and things like that. But like I mentioned, I have really clear thoughts and actions. I can be a bit of a dreamer. I can be a bit of a having really good ideas, but not acting on them, not making them actionable or physical. And that's one of the things that I'm working on. Actually, when I think of something that I really think is a good idea, like, okay, well, how can I develop this, or how can I pursue that? And I find that when I take a break from food, I'm not distracted by, oh, is it lunchtime? Oh, I didn't eat dinner, or I didn't eat breakfast. I'm just going on about my day. I have a sense of other obligations that I need to be fulfilling, and those actually I feel more fulfilled doing that, opposed to stuffing my face with something. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of mention was, you tend to have more creative ideas and synchronized opportunities you have more synchronized opportunities that present themselves. And I can say this, I'm testifying that this is very, very true. I really believe that, taking a break from food, taking a break from TV, it's not only food that's a distraction, but it is a really big distraction, and things like that. So I want to leave you guys with that. What is your opinion? Do you find food distracting? Have you ever tried water fasting, or any of the other types of fasting, like intermittent, dry fasting, or anything like that? Let me know in the comments below. And this has been your girl, Aquarii Moon, and I'll see you on the next one.